Welcome to the homestead. Well, sort of. I'm at my daughter's house, and if I was on the homestead and I did have a working kitchen other than an RV kitchen, this is what I would be doing. I am canning meat, hamburger to be exact. And so I have already started the process. I've already done a batch, and I will show you that. But I'm cooking the hamburger in the pan. When all the pink comes out of the hamburger and it is just lightly brown, I'm going to take it off and I'm going to drain the meat to get all the grease out that I can. Then I'm going to put it back in the pan and I'm going to season it lightly with something. I've just done plain salt and pepper hamburger and ground beef, I should say. And then I've done taco seasoned ground beef, and I've started the chili, lightly chili, mild chili ground beef. And I'll put those in the jars. I can only fit about 7 comfortably in my canner. So I've got 5 in there now. I'm going to put 2 more in there. That's what I'm cooking this hamburger for. And then we will get it going. And I'll show you what I do with these to pack them in the jars. But let me show you the ones I've already done. I have done 7 of these pure hamburger. No seasons whatsoever except salt and pepper. And as you can see, there's a grease line because I used fatty hamburger because it was the cheapest. But I did drain it. And you can see it doesn't look so bad. It's real pretty. And it's got the lids on it. And you can see I took the ring off. It's nice and sealed. And I'll tell you all about this and the process as we go through this. The reason why we lightly brown the ground beef is because if we cold pack this with raw meat, it would turn out to be just one big gigantic clump. But also, in order to can things and to get them to get to temperature and all the stuff they're supposed to do, you have to heat it all the way through everything. And a big block of raw meat would take forever to get it in there. And so we do not want to just put a block of ground beef in there and try to process it. It would have way too much grease in it, and it would also, like I said, be a block. Blah. Who wants that? So lightly brown the meat and then drain it. And I'm getting ready to drain it now because it's plenty cooked. Now, I put the hamburger back in the pan, and I'm going to season it just ever so and make sure that there's season on all the meat pieces, and then I'm going to pack it in the jars. Okay, since I've already been in the process of doing this, my stuff has meat sauce stuff on it already as I'm starting to pack these nice, clean, sterile jars. And so I'm going to go ahead and scoop the meat into each of the jars all the way up to the top. I'm going to lightly pack it down, and not much, just lightly. And then I'm going to add some more meat if needed. And then I'll show you what we do next. We want it to be no taller than this lip right here. We don't want any of the meat to be right above that. So that's why we stop there. Now we're going to pour boiling hot water into each of the jars all the way up to that lip line at the bottom, about this far from the top. And so I've got to get the hot water going, so hold on. Okay, while we're waiting for the hot water to get hot, I want to show you the jars that are already in there. They're in there, they're staying nice and hot. So as the hot water gets poured into these new jars, and then I place them inside this canner, they will stay nice and hot, and they will be able to build up the temperature. I got a nice little boil going on in my pan, and that's going to really help because we're going to pressure cooker these. This pressure cooker, by the way, that I have here belonged to my mom. It's probably about 50, 60 years old. My mom's no longer with us, and she used to can, and then my grandma used to can. My grandma canned meats all the time. I don't think my mom did. And so I'm kind of going backwards in time and old schooling with the meat. I've canned fruits and vegetables and stew and stuff like that, but just ground beef and stuff. This is the first time doing it, but I'm excited about it because with the economy going sideways, the price of beef going up, and we not having our own cattle, we need to buy the beef when it's really cheap. But if you keep it in the freezer, and we lose electricity, you lose all that meat. So, and this is going to be quick and easy because it's already like a ready meal. You just defrost it, pour it in whatever you're going to make, and voila, right? It's going to save time. It's going to save money. It can keep for, according to the FDA, like a year, but according to old school people, like 10 years. So let me show you where we got going here. So I have 5 taco meat. This one's chili. I marked it already so I wouldn't get it confused with the taco. And I'll be able to put, it looks probably just 2 more jars in here. One of the jars is not going to go in just yet, but so I won't add any hot water to one of the jars. I'll just put the lid on lightly until I get more meat going, so my second batch. And actually, that's my 3rd batch. So it's going to take a long time because it does take quite a bit of time to do this. So you got to set aside a good 3-hour block to do stuff like this. So once I get this can or all the things in there, I need to put the lid on really nice and tight and secure, and then I have to wait till it starts to steam, and we see steam coming out of the spout before we ever start our timer. So hold on, let me get the water. Now what I'm doing here is I'm taking and I'm putting this along the edges, and this is going to release any bubbles that are in there, and so we need to release the bubbles. By releasing space, we've got just a tiny little bit of space in there to top it off. Might have topped it off too much, but it's cool. It's still below the line. First, we take a little rag and get some vinegar on it. Vinegar is going to help if I got any food particle on the edge of the jar, it will take it off, and it breaks through grease so that we can seal the jar without anything in its way. So, put it on evenly, give it a nice twist, and we're just kind of hand tightening these screws. We're not, we're not trying to snug them too tight. Then, I forgot to write on that one. I might have enough room if I rearrange these. You don't want them touching each other. You don't want them touching the ball. They've been put on, you can't put them directly in the pan. You have to have a grate. Yep, looks like I'm going to go ahead and be able to fit that very last one in place. Okay, all the jars are in place. I've lowered the water a little bit so it doesn't have to worry about all that water because now it's about 3 inches up. And got to put the lid on. Make sure it's really tight. And then we just wait. When it starts to steam out the hole, we have to wait 10 more minutes after the steam starts coming out the hole. So watch this. Okay, you see little water splats starting to come out through this hole? Well, that's where the steam should come out. Okay, as you can see, I have this nice steady stream of steam. So I need to let it do this for 10 minutes before putting this lovely little cap on. Okay, we've had a steady stream there now for a good 10 minutes, so pop the little lid on. This is how many pounds of pressure inside this pan. We need it to be 10 pounds, 11, 12 maybe, but no more. okay? Because we are low altitude. High altitude would be 15, but we are low altitude, so 10 pounds of pressure for 45 minutes. And you don't start until it hits 10 pounds. Then you start the timer. Okay, it's now 11 pounds, which means I'm going to turn the temperature down just a smidge, tiny little increment so it doesn't keep climbing. My 45 minutes starts now. Okay, time was up and I went ahead and turned the oven off, and now it's cooling down. Do not touch it at all until it totally gets down to 0 pressure. Getting down to pressure, it's about 6 pounds right now. And when it gets to 0, I'll take that weight off. But until then, leave it alone. Don't jiggle it, don't do anything, just leave it alone. After a while, with this off, when the steam isn't coming out at all, you can go ahead and open it up, lift the lid, and then gently take the jars off and put them on a towel.